Hello, selamat hari to everyone here in Sepang International Circuit. Welcome everyone to round 6 of Formula Hololive International. It's the Malaysia Grand Prix coming right up. Of course, we're here in Malaysia, continuing on from the previous round, the Sepang Super Prix, racing in the Malaysia Grand Prix. Let's take a look in the track map for Sepang International Circuit to know more about the track. So, the Sepang International Circuit hosting both rounds 5 and 6. Today is round 6, of course, the Malaysia Grand Prix. Last Thursday's race, which was brought forward from Saturday, the Sepang Super Prix, was round 5. So anyways, 5.5 kilometers, Sepang, the total track length for the circuit. 15 corners in total, a variety of corners. So you can see here, there are corners that are quite fast sweeping, and there are slow corners like turns 1 and 2 and turn 9. So with all that being said, you have basically a very fine racetrack here in, of course, Malaysia. It also hosted Formula 1 races, hosted MotoGP, currently hosting MotoGP races, GT3 races, and all that stuff. It's also, I just want to remind you that this is a double header event. While last Sepang Super Prix was a night race, this one will be a noon race with the cars currently decked out under the hot and blazing Malaysian sunlight. You can see here, and of course we're going to be also going to take note of the higher track temperatures that we're going to be dealing with soon. So that is also going to be something that the drivers will be wary of. We're going to explain more about this later as we get to this qualifying session. So anyways, let's take a look into the championship order after the Sepang Super Prix, the 5th race of the season. Anyways, we're having a nice sight if you are an ID fan. Aziz Wazif, of course, currently takes the lead of the Formula Hololive International Championship after he has had a string of very consistently good results for Ayunda Risu. He currently sits 495.6 points above Takeda Adachi in the Nina Mayanana's number 17. Jake Martinez represents Mori Calliope in the number 4 car, currently about 29 points behind Aziz Wazif. And then we have Wani Castanto behind Aziz Wazif by about 40 points. And then behind by 55 points is Zeke Wimberly in the Sarasvana number 98. Nothing is separating between the top 5. And that should be the case for the championship battle that we could be looking out for. And then in the bottom portions here, we're going to take a look at Angela Sims, Corey Rica Mendes. Angela Sims, of course, having her best finish of her Formula Hololive career up to this point in the Sepang Super Prix. I believe it was third, but yeah, just want to confirm back that it was second on the Sepang Super Prix. And also, one thing we also wanted to note that Corey Rica Mendes can also provide us with some heroics in Sepang at one time. But let's see if this round will be his in his favor. Anyways, I'm Alasho will now have a good amount of track time in these cars, the Formula Hall International cars, so he should have more pace coming up in this race here in Sepang. And then we have Ethan Wilson and Bernardo Santiago. As far as the ID class goes, 7 of the 9 cars that are outside the top 10 are ID cars. So the ID cars really need to show out in what should be one of the last races in Southeast Asia before we inevitably move to Europe and the United States to complete the Formula Hololive International season. So anyways, let's get on board into the intermission here. I am Mama Reza in the commentary booth, and unfortunately it's just going to be me once again. So yeah, I'm literally the only one here once again. So welcome everyone to Sepang International Circuit. Just wanted to go a bit of intermission here to switch up the graphics. There we go. So we have the first car out on track in this qualifying session, and that looks like Takeda Adachi, car number 17 for Nina Mayananis. Now, Adachi, he has had some very questionable driving throughout. And as you can see here, Adachi, if you remember the Indonesia Grand Prix, where he basically pile drove into 2 drivers, leaving him with 2 penalties. Well, 2 5-second penalties, which leads up to 10 seconds worth of penalties. Just wanted to get these words into my mind about Takeda Adachi. So he's had like 2 5-second penalties that add up to 10 seconds. But due to Aziz Muazzez also having a 5-second penalty, and of course Bernardo Santiago being quite far back, Takeda Adachi was still able to get the win back in the Indonesia Grand Prix, round 4 of the season. But so far, throughout this week, Takeda Adachi is able to keep himself disciplined and patient in terms of wanting to find opportunities and not wanting to be bold and brash. Kento Kai also should be someone that we should be highlighting. He has been one of he is one of those drivers of the night at Sepang. Had it not been for Zeke Wimberley performing basically a clean sweep, or I would like to call it the Grand Slam. Well, I'll explain the Grand Slam in a few moments' time. Anyways, here's Zeke Wimberley. A Grand Slam, qualify on pole, lead all laps, get fastest lap, and win the race. And that's what Zeke Wimberley did in the Malaysia Sepang Super Prix. And without a way, let's see if we can get himself back on pole position in this number 98 Sarasvana car as he gets into this championship lead. Let's go on board with him for a lap here in Sepang International Circuit. Go to exit in the final corner should be very important for you to get into turn 1. Get the most out of the main straight coming to turn 1. 100-meter board braking into turn 1. Right-hander becomes left-hander here. You want to get your lines right into turns 1 and 2. Turn 2 obviously one of the slowest corners of the track. Turn 3 here, fully flat out. And then you have to come into turn 4. Turn 4 is around right here. Use the access throw and the 100-meter board as reference. Take it easy at the apex of turn 4. There's a bump. Passing the first sector times. Obviously, not many drivers have already set lap times just yet. So obviously, you have Zeke Wimberley stuck behind the wake of Kento Kai, so he might be slowed here. But of course, turn 5 is flat. Turn 6, you have to lift off and dab on the brakes a bit. Turn 7 and 8 here, use a 50-meter board to brake, and then treat 7 and 8 as a single corner. And then use the access road on the right side at turn 9, just after the 100-meter board, as reference to brake into this slowest section of Sepang. Turn 10 is off camber, but still flat out. 104.088 for Zeke Wimberley. Get a good arc into turn 11. And then here's turn 12 here. Oh, has to lift off there. Not enough grip to go flat in turn 12. Burnt braking and turning at the same time. Turn 13. Get a good exit off of turn 14 because you have this very long back straight. Well, second longest in the circuit. So you have a lot of time to think on where you want to really find your braking points, and there he is at the 100-meter board in the final corner. And of course, try to get as much speed as possible, get the best exit as possible out of that final corner, and that should be a lap here in Sepang. 1:45.911 for Zeke Wimberley, but unfortunately that's not the fastest time. Takeda Adachi has the fastest time throughout. Oh, and Kate Garcia also crossed the line. She's only 5/10 behind. And then we have Hanare Miyuki also sending her time. Shonga Lyle, the hometown boy, gets up there with 1:45.636. That is provisional pole for the young Malaysian, Shonga Lyle. Lots of excitement for the Chumbuds. Unfortunately, it has fizzled out after countless amounts of lackluster performances from Goliath prevented him from essentially getting him very high up into the top 10 or top 5 of the championship. He's currently 15th in Formula Hololive International, so that is also not something to be excited for. Shonga Lyle, of course, being stuck behind Hanare Miyuki after he just set the provisional pole, so there won't be any improvements for him. Anyways, more lap time developments here. Angela Sims currently crosses the line. She wants to continue her very good run here in Sepang with this 5th place qualifying position. Aziz Muazzez championship leader, 1:47.001 for Ayunda Risu. So obviously the ID class cars are still not showing us. The EN class cars just shows a lot of pace throughout the season. And Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, 1:45.354 for the Brazilian. He is now in provisional pole for Pavolia Reine in what has got to be one of those surprising moments, because Yuri Rafael has not been at his best throughout the season. Him already qualifying up top is already something to watch out for. Look at Kit Garcia too, only 4/10 behind Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. With all drivers already crossing the line, Hinoshi Tayo, of course, still out on the dumps. She's still not finding her mojo that she would like. So Hinoshi Tayo is looking to qualify at the back. But what a surprise at the front it's going to be. Look at the left side on the starting lineup here, facing turn 1. You have Rafael de Oliveira on provisional pole, and Kate Garcia will start on the left side of row 2. So that is already 2 of Holo Hero members in the top 3. Hanori Miyuki down in 12 though. This will be interesting. And we have some advancements in the table here. Mendes now gets up into 12th place after he sets a faster time than Hanari Miyuki. Now Dan Evans puts himself up into 10th in the number 15 Ironeo 15 car. Obviously, there's a lot more to go in this qualifying session here. We have about to pass the halfway stage of this qualifying session. Ella Shore has crossed the line. However, he's not going to find any improvement in this number 58. Obviously, he's still trying to adjust in this car. So, as we mentioned here, it can be very unfair to basically ask him to immediately deliver in his debut. So, of course, Ahmed Ella Shore already 4 tenths behind on Sector 1. So, as we are about to check his progress into the second sector here with turns 5 and 6. Should be quite tidy, but I feel like he should be able to carry more speed in turns 7 and 8. As you can see, he's not really making use of the exit of turn 7 and 8, so you might see him struggle a lot for pace. Because he is just so far back. He's lost a lot of time on that second sector, or he's already lost 1.4 seconds on that second sector. So Ahmed Al Shore really needs to find some time, and if he can find at least 2 tenths, he will jump both Takaboshi and Jensen in the final 2 points positions. So Ahmed Al Shore might just try something, but right now it's not forthcoming for him. Of course, we also wanted to talk about the track temperatures in Sepang. Now, I believe it's around 32 or 33 degrees ambient temperatures. And for the track temperature, it should be around 5 to 10 degrees more. So, obviously, what it does to the tires is that it cooks the tires. And with Ahmed Shore setting himself in 14th place, as we mentioned, he just needs around 3 tenths for him to get himself above Takaboshi and Jensen. That he did just that very well for him, and also he's only a thousandth of a second ahead of Takaboshi, which is also interesting to see. But anyways, the story goes with a lot of you can have warm tires, but you cannot have hot tires. If you have hot tires, then the grip will not be optimal, and you will be at a huge risk of blistering, where you might see the center part of the tire carcass explode, while parts of the center parts of the tire explode. So you basically are being left with 2 smaller ridges of tires than 1 big ridge of tire. Well, we're talking about width, by the way, and that will result in you having less grip. And of course, with the Malaysia Grand Prix being 300 kilometers, well, 305 kilometers in race distance, this will also mean that these drivers cannot commit to a zero-stop strategy. They will have to pit once, at least once in this race, like what we've seen with the Indonesia Grand Prix and the Mandalika Super Prix. Of course, the Mandalika Super Prix being 250 kilometers, and the Malaysia Grand Prix and the Indonesia Grand Prix being 305. Anyway, you're seeing Jake Martinez now in 5th place after his improvements on his lap time. We have passed the 10-minute mark of this qualifying session, and right now it's not over in this qualifying session, though. There should be a few more surprises in store, especially coming into the final stages of this qualifying session. Of course, Hinoshi Tayo not showing up again, still in this number 69 car. 3.6 seconds behind pole and 4 tenths behind Juan Castanto. That has got to be a very, very worrying sight. Of course, Hinochi Taiyo really needing a performance here. She is at huge risk of going down in last, if she isn't already. Yusen Jensen improves, get himself up into 13th place, bumps both El Ashore and Miyuki down a position. Jensen gets up to 13th. Okay, yes, Hinochi Taiyo is currently in last place, so... Which is, sorry, no, she is not in last place. She is just only about 12 points ahead of Kate Garcia. And speaking of Kate Garcia, she is currently up there in 3rd place. Currently only 6 thousandths behind the pole sitter times. First sector, that's Yuri Rafael de Oliveira up front. You can see here Kate Garcia already showing a lot of pace on that turn 7 and 8. Chikeka Takaboshi improves her lap time. She now gets up into 16th. And Jake Martinez continues to improve from where he was in 5th. Kate Garcia, meanwhile, is about to cross the 2nd sector. Only 2 tenths behind Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. So she is not going to be able to challenge for pole at this rate. But if she can find some time to find the sector, she could be able to at least start on the front row. Assetto continues to climb himself up into the rankings as he's now currently in 9th place, beating out Santiago and Evans. Okay, Garcia really needing this engine to work as optimally as she should. Obviously, there's now club cover here in Sepang, which should be able to cool off parts of the track. Kate Garcia now drops down into the pit lane, and you can see also Zeke Wimberly is sliding his car with a lot of aggressiveness, and you can see here he's already gained a lot of time, 6 tenths of a second already in this after the first 2 sectors of Sepang. And right now Zeke Wimberly is in very serious position to try to grab yet another pole position. Zeke Wimberly is on fire lately. Okay, I mean on fire is not the right term. His control over the florals and funnels in Formula Hololive are still pretty much right in it. As speaking of which, Zeke Wimberly already faster in than Yuri Rafael de Oliveira in the first 2 sectors. Now caps it all off with a 1:44.872. That's the fastest out of anyone so far, and Zeke Wimberly is gonna go for back-to-back pole positions. Final minute of qualifying, and it looks to me that Yuri Rafael de Oliveira is going to settle for at most, a front row start. Kate Garcia will look to be set for 5th. Kento Kai as well. Assetto across the line. He is not going to be improving. More drivers trying to cross the line. Looking at Ahmed El Ashor. He's going to go for one more try in his qualifying session in order for him to basically gain even more position. He's currently down in 17th. Ethan Bertelsen, of course, also wanting to find some time. He's not been at his best in Sepang International Circuit. Angela Sims also ready to cross the line. Bernardo Santiago's qualifying session is over. Same goes for Sven Jensen. Hanari Miyuki has one more corner to deal with in her 2nd home race of the season. And it looks to me that Hanari Miyuki is going to peel into the pits herself. Hinochi Taiyo, on the other hand, hasn't been at her best in this lap as well. And behind her, Dan Evans and Juan Castanto. Interestingly enough, we should also pay attention to their progress. Crossing the start-finish line is going to be Hinochi Taiyo, and she is absolutely dreadful on that last lap, with no improvements for each of these drivers. While Zeke Wimberly will continue to edge ahead, but it's not going to be the case. Bertelsen does not improve. Keiko Takaboshi is going to aim to improve herself. No improvements from her. Yes, she actually. Keiko Takaboshi now is in 13th place. That should be where she will start in this race. And Sean Goliath had been pretty okay. Is not going to find any improvements either. Koyori Mendes is going to start 15th. Aziz Mwazi, Ame El Ashor, Takeda Adachi, and Angela Sim, the last 4 drivers to cross the line. Aziz Muazif gets up into 8th place, 146.122. Meanwhile, the last two drivers across the line, both Adachi and Ella Shore having miscommunications at the end of this qualifying session will put both of them out of any possible gains in qualifying. And with that away, that should be the end of this qualifying session. Angela Sims does not improve either. She will look to only qualify 7th. Takeda Adachi is going to try to get his car back on track, and that he is able to. However, he is going to be a bit sluggish here. We're going to take a while to get this qualifying session to conclude. Yes, that should be the end of this qualifying session. We have officially confirmed it. Pole position has belonged to Zeke Wimberly once again. Someone needs to check on Zeke Wimberly's car. Or that Zeke Wimberly has suddenly found that inspiring burst of performance. Because Zeke Wimberly has been very much the unstoppable force of nature that he currently drives. And right now, we're going to be checking on to see if he's able to convert his pole into a race win. So anyways, we're going to take a look into the starting lineup for the Malaysia Grand Prix. Of course, Zeke Wimberly takes back-to-back poles here in Sepang International Circuit for Ceres Fauna in car number 98, and alongside him on the front row is Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, who's enjoying his best ever qualifying position in 2nd place for Pavonia Rene. Jake Martinez will start 3rd for Mori Calliope, and in 4th place is Sean Goliath in the Gagura number 99, wanting to rekindle the fiery moments that Brendan McConley had with this car. Kate Garcia starts 5th for Vestia Zeta with Takeda Adachi. Starting 6th for Nina Mayananis. Angela Sims 7 for Anya Melfisa, and Aziz Muazef, the championship leader, will start 8 for Ayuna Risu. 85 and 86 for 9 and 10. Kento Kai for Hakos Bales and Sven Jensen for Iris. Fernando Santiago starts 11 for Watson Emilia alongside Dan Evans. 12 for Ironio 15. Pregioli starts 13 for with her driver Kekataka Washi starting in 13. Wanika starts 14th for Oro Crony in the number 92 with a 147.301. And Corey Commander starts in the final points position in the number 50 Takana Shikara car. First driver out of the points, Hanari Miyuki in 16th for Kobo Kanaeru. She will start there alongside Ame Ashore, 17th for Kaela Kowalskia. 18th belongs to Ethan Brotherson in the Nanashi car, has been able to perform at his best in Sepang. Hinoshi Tayoshi will start at the back for Hoshinawa Muna. And that should be the grid for the Sepang Malaysia Grand Prix. So as far as race previews go, it all gets a bit nervy as you see multiple cars already lining up at the start to get this Malaysia Grand Prix underway. And you can see Zeke Wimberly already lining up on pole position with Yuri Rafael de Oliveira alongside. The Malaysian Grand Prix is coming up. Zeke Wimberly and Yuri Rafael de Oliveira lining up on the front row to start this Malaysia Grand Prix. And it's a go. And it looks to me that Zeke Wimberly again has a very, very good start. Jake Martinez on the inside line against Yuri Rafael de Oliveira into turn 1. And you can see here immediately Jake Martinez tries to pile on the pressure against Zeke Wimberly there. But right now there's still a bit of a shuffle in positions at the back as some drivers are coming to a stop, having to check up. But meanwhile, Jake Garcia continues her comeback. He's now up into 3rd place. Zeke Wimberly leads, Martinez 2nd, Garcia 3rd under pressure from Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, who has had a dreadful start. He's now dropped down to 4th. Goliath and Sim straight blows for 5th. Kai up to 7th, Adachi 8th, Wazif 9th, and Santiago inside the top 10. Okay, meanwhile, we're gonna be taking a look into basically the current state of affairs at the front here. Just wanted to check around on what has been traded at the front here. But right now in the middle here, we are seeing Kai and Adachi basically trading blows against each other. And now you can see Wimberly and Garcia, or rather Garcia against Martinez. Now Garcia continues her climb into second place. Let's see if she can try to bring Hololive Indonesia's first win of the 2023-24 Formula Hololive International season. Okay, Garcia trying to defend against Jake Martinez. Meanwhile, Hinochi Taiyo has had a pretty decent start here. She's now up into 16th place, but she feels like a point is on the cards for her. And as you can see here, down the inside she goes, coming into turn 1, and side by side goes Hinochi Taiyo against Wani Castanto. And currently now up inside the points once again. Hinochi Taiyo, she's going to need to gain as much position as she needs in this race start. Meanwhile, Keiko Takaboshi and Sven Jensen going side by side for 11th place. But Takaboshi is too far back as it stands to make a challenge against Jensen. So Jensen will stay in 11th place. So we're going to have a slight pause on lap 3 to basically adjust the workspace, and the race will only be halted for around at most 1 minute for us to be able to readjust. So we're gonna need to complete lap 2 before we're gonna get lap 3 before we have to pause for lap 3. So we're gonna go into intermission on lap 3 as the leader will cross the lines equivalently. So excuse us while we try to adjust once again. Iwaka Tokai going side by side with Angela Sims. We're gonna wait for the pause because this battle has yet to conclude. And right now Kento Kai is on the outside, Angela Sims on the inside, and they're still side by side coming into the main straight into turn 1. Fastest laps being traded left and right. Kento Kai has the fastest lap now with a 147.123. Meanwhile, Jake Martinez now trying to go around the outside of Kate Garcia. Kate Garcia has the inside, becomes the outside line at turn 2. Kate Garcia will pinch Jake Martinez into a bump, and that should shuffle him out of the second position, but he has a very good run, but he has to take it easy there. Outside becomes the inside for Jake Martinez. More side-by-side battles at the back, as we've seen here. Meanwhile, Kate Garcia manages to defend her second place for now. But meanwhile, Keiko Takaboshi against Corey Rico Mendez still going side-by-side between each other. And Keiko Takaboshi is now able to defend. As we mentioned here, we will go on a slight pause to readjust our... to basically readjust our positions here, so excuse us while we go have a short break. Excuse us, everyone, while we are almost finished with readjusting our readjusting our basically workstation here to us to properly resume this race. So anyways, we're on lap anyways, back onto the racetrack here. We're now on lap 3 of 56 of the Capture the Moment Grand Prix race, and obviously we have been seeing battles against Takaboshi, against Corey Rico Mendes for the 12th position, and now we are seeing both of them wanting to get themselves back up, and there's more battles up front. Now it's Yuri Rafael de Oliveira against Sean Galay. Yuri Rafael now gets himself up into 4th place, and right now he's gonna try to mount his challenge against the top 3. Zeke Wimberley isn't having his dominant run as he's had in the Sepang Super Prix. Miwa Mendes and Takaboshi, as you can see here, they went side by side coming into turn 12, and you can see here now Keiko Takaboshi is the winner. Dan Evans is going to be shuffled off by Hinoshi Tayo, who is on a comeback from the back. This is interesting to see. Hinoshi Tayo nowhere in the qualifying, now very much in the race, and right now at the same time, so Sean Galay side by side with Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. Turn 1, side by side, the two drivers. It's going to be nervy between the two, and you can see here, ooh, nearly making contact between the two. And fortunately for them, they're able to at least survive their onslaught against each other, although it's going to be the Oliveira over Galay. Meanwhile, Evans and Tayo trading blows once again. But Tayo is going to give Evans a run for his money. Tayo is going to go down the inside. She will try, but she's not close enough. Tayo literally on the final points position, but let's see if she can hang on this position for much longer. Meanwhile, we're looking at everyone pitting very, very early in this race, but I fear that some of them might pit too early, and they will miscalculate their fuel loads once again. Here is Hinoshi Tayo trying to find a way to get her race fixed, and right now she's just hanging around wherever she is in the 15th place. And right now I'm not sure there's going to be any new developments in this racetrack here. As you might see here, there might be a side-by-side battle between Sven Jensen and Corey Rico Mendes at the back. But meanwhile, there are two side-by-side battles forming behind. That looks like Juan Casanto, Ethan Bertelsen, and Ahmed El Ashor against Hanari Miyuki. Three side-by-side battles, literally on the same back straight. What more could you ask for, as other than maybe more battles? But you can see here De Oliveira and Sean Galay again trade blows. Now De Oliveira gets up into 4. Sven Jensen now gets himself into 11th place. Oh, makes contact just a bit against Corey Rico Mendes. El Ashor now gets up against Ethan Broderson and pulls one back. And Ethan Broderson continues to fall down as he's lost 2 positions in 2 corners. Sven Jensen and Corey Rico Mendes basically trading blows again. There are literally trading blows everywhere. So basically there's a switch up of positions once again. There are so many overtakes that we just can't count them all. Anyways, Zeke Wimberley not having the dominant race that he's had in the Sepang Super Prix. He still has a gap against Kate Garcia. However, the gap is only at about 0.7 of a second. And remember, these drivers are gonna have to pit. So looking at Zeke Wimberley at the moment, Zeke Wimberley will look to pit in the next 3 laps. And for Kate Garcia, she will try to hang on for as long as she will, and it will be for only 4 laps. Zeke Wimberley currently up front here on this Sepang circuit here for the Malaysia Grand Prix, and right now we're gonna go for an onboard shot for you to allow you to hear more of the car. You can see Sven Jensen getting close there, and there is a note of a fastest lap on the top 4. I wasn't able to read this, apologies. But anyway, there's more side-by-side battles here as, well, I would have said that if Ahmed El Ashore didn't go to the pits. And that will be Ahmed El Ashore going into the pits. Meanwhile, we have Angela Sims currently on her charge against Kento Kai in 6th place. Of course, Angela Sims with that purple helmet that she's carrying. She has basically selected this color because it's her preference. And there's a bit of yellow to basically signify that she's driving for Anya Melfissa. So that's also an interesting sight to see. So we're gonna go off board a bit to see where Hanari Miyuki is right now, and she is looking pretty okay against Ethan Bertelsen. Against, you know, they are currently separated by around 9/10, but right now her battle is with Wani Castanto for the first position outside the points, as currently Hinoshi Tayo has the last position inside the points. Kate Garcia now losing touch to Zeke Wimberly at the front here. Now she's 1 second behind Zeke Wimberly right now for basically the lead. But Zeke Wimberly will have to pit this next lap. I mean, Alashore has already pitted for his immediate splash, so he will look to pit again in the next 6 laps. Shango Lyle and Zeke Wimberly actually being called into the pits now, and now we have now we're gonna see an ID class car taking the lead here in Sepang Circuit. Here is Kate Garcia having first place currently in Sepang, but right now her gap between herself and Jake Martinez is currently only about 0.4 of a second. As we confirm here, Wimberly and Golile are currently serving time in the pit lane. Ahmed El Ashore is actually not far behind. Here is Ahmed El Ashore currently at the back straight in Sepang. Sean Golile is just about to exit, as does Zeke Wimberly, and crucially, as we've seen here, Zeke Wimberly has taken a longer amount of time inside the pit lane than Sean Golile. On board Kento Kai, again, as you can see here, De Oliveira, Martinez, and Kate Garcia currently up front. The top 3 currently separated by about under a second, and Kento Kai only further behind by 6/10. The battle for top 4 might be only temporary, as you can see here. These 4 drivers are going to have to pit sooner rather than later. And speaking of sooner than later, here we are not given any notification that each of these drivers will pit. Ethan Burleson is going to go long. Zeke Wimberly will only have a splash of fuel before he is set to pit once again, this time until the end of this race. And we have a confirmation that Kate Garcia will peel into the pits in this lap after 7 laps complete. But meanwhile, as we've seen here, there is a potential side-by-side battle. Right now with Jake Martinez. As you can see, Kate Garcia has been called into the pits, but she is not coming into the pits. Meanwhile, Jake Martinez with lap time improvements for him. And also we have Jake Martinez really taking the lead. Kento Kai fastest lap, 1:46.057. Oh, both of them still on their toes. Oh, there's contact between Kate Garcia and Jake Martinez. You heard there was a bit of contact between the two. And that actually shuffled Martinez off, and now he doesn't have the lead yet. That's some driving for Kate Garcia to get herself up front. Meanwhile, Yurafa de Oliveira with a great move on the outside against Kento Kai to get himself into 3rd place. Now calls to get into the pit lanes. Kate Garcia is currently being called into the pits. She will have to pit this lap, otherwise she will run out of fuel. You're Rafael de Oliveira trying to catch Jake Martinez for 2nd place. And Sven Jensen here actually going for the premature dive bomb against, that looks to me, Bernardo Santiago. And Sven Jensen almost able to get himself into basically 8th place. Bernardo Santiago currently having 8th. And as far as the battle goes. It's looking to be quite feisty. Look at Corey Rico Mendez in 9th. And look at Sven Jensen already being quite faster than Bernardo Santiago. And you can see here Garcia comes into the pit lane herself. Well, lots of drivers actually coming into the pit lane. Or rather, a lot of drivers are being called to the pit lane. That's Angela Sims also in the pits. See a driver peeling in already. That looks to be Corey Rico Mendez. Or yeah, Sven Jensen. Sven Jensen also coming into the pits. Kate Garcia is now stationary. Angela Sims is also stationary. Crucially, for these drivers, they will pit until the end of this race. As for Sven Jensen, he's going to peel in as well. He will have enough amounts of fuel to run until the end of this race. So, and also Hanari Miyuki too. So for them, they'll allow Golile and Wimberley to basically serve their pit stops later in this race. While they're also still in the lead. Meanwhile, we also have Corey Mendez and Bernardo Santiago with a really close battle on the turns 5 and 6 section, the S section. Nothing separating between them, but in the end, Corey Mendez manages to be ahead. First driver to come out of the pits is going to set to be Kate Garcia, but it's going to be a pretty long and stationary stop for lots of these drivers involved. Kate Garcia is still stationary. The filling period of the fuel inside the tank is quite long. And right now we have Angela Sims actually moving out first against Kate Garcia. Kate Garcia, who was in control of the, at least part of the front in the Malaysia Grand Prix, is now basically a net second place because you see Angela Sims manages to beat him, and Rafael Oliveira now takes the lead after Jake Martinez now comes into the comes in to serve his pit stop. Jake Martinez is currently on a side-by-side battle with what should be Kate Garcia and Angela Sims. Angela Sims currently exiting turn 4. Kento Kai currently in the pit lane. As you can see, also Moise, Martinez, Takaboshi, Adachi also coming into the 5 drivers now in the pit stop phase. Zeke Wimberley crosses the line, but he knows he'll have to pit again. Dan Evans getting quite close to Bernardo Santiago, but right now nothing comes of it from the Australian driver. Emmett Ashore gets past the drivers making a pit stop. Here's Angela Sims, currently at turn 12 right now. The drivers who are currently in the pits are still stationary in the pits. Meanwhile, Angela Sims is going to try to press on. Already there's movement here. Martinez, first driver to come out of the pits here, and crucially, the overcut strategy is working. Looking at Angela Sims, who's lost a lot of time on her out lap. Martinez didn't have a lot of time lost on the in lap, coming into his 1 lap later than usual pit stop. And now you can see here the fruits of these drivers pitting later than usual. Martinez over and Wazif over Angela Sims. And now Martinez is going to be the net race leader. But let's see if Rafael de Oliveira is able to perform a mistake-free stop. Corey Mendez coming into the pits. Bernardo Santiago. Dan Evans as well. Noji Tayo also come into the pits. Wani Castanto too. Sean Galile will continue for a few more laps before they'll have to pit. So it's going to be Sean Galile and Zeke Wimberley who is going to temporarily assume their spots in the top 2, as they'll haven't been fuel right until the end of this race. Meanwhile, we're looking at currently Ahmed El Ashore also coming to the pit lane. Now you can see he's very much well back in the field. He is also pitted quite early in this race, I believe. Yes, this is his second stop. I mean, also, of course, the first driver to actually pit in this race. and he pitted way too early, and he'll have to come in to serve his pit stop. Jake Martinez currently leads for Maury Calliope, at least in terms of net positions. Sean Golal is your actual race leader, but will have to cede his position because he'll be pitting in the next few laps. Your Rafael de Oliveira makes his move. Jake Martinez in the main straight. De Oliveira manages to have a even better strategy called to pit later than everyone else. Trying to pit at the last minute, and Rafael de Oliveira manages to pull up the heroics and be the new net race leader. And among the drivers who are pitted right until the end of this race, Rafael de Oliveira now leads this race over Martinez and Wazif. Sims and Mendes are also not catching up. Oh, gets very close there, Sven Jensen and Keiko Takaboshi. Hopefully there's no contact between the two. Sean Golal and Zeke Wimberly are continuing on, but they will only be able to continue for 2 more laps. Sean Golal with the fastest lap of the race so far, 1:45.682 for Golal. De Oliveira currently 53 seconds back against Wimberly and Golal, but De Oliveira, of course, has already pitted, so he's just gonna be chilling throughout this rest of this race. Excuse me. Anyways, Sven Jensen getting very close as well to Keiko Takaboshi, but Sven Jensen, of course, not far behind, but also not close enough. Oh, and Angela Sims there gets very close there to Aziz Monster. The gas drop down to around 3:10.7 seconds. Sven Jensen also looking to be quite close to Takaboshi. And then also looking a little to Garcia against Adachi too. And we have confirmation that Sean Golal is currently being called into the pit lane now to make his pit stop once again to basically fill him up right up until the end. But as you can see here, Golal and Wimberly at least are building up gaps against Rafael de Oliveira, so it's not too bad in the grand scheme of things, at least when it comes to drivers in the top 2 spots right now. Well, let's see if both de Oliveira and Martinez are able to catch up. Now we have confirmation that Sean Golal is coming into the pit. Zeke Wimberly is also being called as well. But Zeke Wimberly is going to hang around for just 1 more lap. And right now, it should not be at a more inopportune moment. But fortunately, Zeke Wimberly should be able to clear Ahmed El Ashor, who is just very much behind in pace. So that's that. Anyways, Sean Golal already coming into pit. Rafael de Oliveira already in turn 13 and 14. To catch up to Sean Golal. If De Oliveira manages to catch up to Sean Golal, De Oliveira will have a real shot of winning the Malaysia Grand Prix and bring Hololive Indonesia their first win in Formula Hololive International's points-paying races. Sean Golal is still stationary. Rafael de Oliveira already piling on the laps that he needs, and Rafael de Oliveira has confirmed his place in second. Sean Golal still, of course, stuck in his pit box, and that would mean that Rafael de Oliveira has a realistic chance of basically edging ahead of Zeke Wimberly for the race lead. Sean Golal exiting the pits right now, obviously losing a lot of time. Dan Evans in 10th, that is Golal in 11th. He's going to try to not lose more time. Hinoshi Tayo with a superb strategy call continues her climb up in positions. She's now up in 12th place, but with Kate Garcia currently in 8th, she will inherit last place in the Formula Hololive International standings. Zeke Wimberly coming into the pits. Rafael de Oliveira now coming into turn 9. De Oliveira has been told that Zeke Wimberly has now come into the pits. De Oliveira is going to try to eke out as much time as possible and as much grip as possible in these tires. Will De Oliveira manage to pull up with the heroics? This is, of course, Rafael De Oliveira's his best moment in Formula Hololive up to this point. He hasn't been qualifying up front as consistently as he should, and he hasn't been in the lead of these races as consistently as he should. Zeke Wimberly is still not moving in the pit lane. The services have yet to conclude. Zeke Wimberly is still not moving. Rafael De Oliveira and Jake Martinez are already in the main straight now. Zeke Wimberly is going to lose his race lead to Rafael De Oliveira. De Oliveira is now in the lead of the Malaysia Grand Prix. This is an unusually long service for Zeke Wimberly. That's not what Wimberly wants after he has had a very dominant Sepang Super Prix, and now in the Malaysia Grand Prix, his pole position has now come completely undone due to messed up strategies, and now Zeke Wimberly is going to be at the mercy of Hinochi Tayo, who started last in this race, and is going to try to stake her claim inside the top 10. And Sven Jensen getting close to Ethan Brothesen here, and now Sven Jensen has the outside line at turn 2, now the inside line at turn 3. Sven Jensen's on board says that he is ahead of Ethan Brothesen, but you can see here Brothesen's gonna hang around the outside and probably give Brothesen a run for his money into turns 5 and 6. Sven Jensen trying to hang around the inside, but there's just not enough grip outside the racing line. And now Bertelsen gets into 16th. His eyes are now set on Takaboshi's 15th place. And the race lead 2 is very, very competitive right now. Look at Jake Martinez against Rafael De Oliveira at the moment. And speaking of Martinez, now the inside of De Oliveira for the race lead here. And now still nothing separating between them. Only 8 hundredths of a second separate between them now. You can see here the difference in pace is in the thousandths of a second. And now Jake Martinez on the outside of turn 1. Rafael De Oliveira has the inside of turn 1, which will be the outside line at turn 2. And as you can see here, it gets nervy between these two drivers. None of them having the very good exit at turn 2, but it looks like De Oliveira has the slightly better exit off of turn 2 for him to stay ahead into turn 4. But Jake Martinez manages to force De Oliveira into a compromising position to put the Mori Calliope number 4 back into the top. Here's Miyuki and Jensen for 17th place. Sven Jensen on the inside, Miyuki is on the outside, and looks like Galile might have to think twice about just trying to catch up to Takaboshi, because you see here Sven Jensen and Miyuki they've been at it since like the exit of turn 15 the previous lap, and now they're gonna try to get themselves closer, or rather for Miyuki, she should be able to get herself into 17th place, and for Sven Jensen to get himself one step closer into the points. And as you can see here, Jake Martinez, after he just takes the lead, he has been able to build up some kind of performance gaps. Well, he's built up a gap, an advantage over De Oliveira, with 14 laps complete here in Sepang. Confidence levels had been low for the Hoshino Muna driver, that is Hinochi Tayo. Tayo, of course, currently 18th in Formula Hololive International, 8th of the 9 ID class drivers. Hinochi Tayo, Hinochi herself, she has had a bit of a confidence drop after she is just been not available throughout these last few rounds. And now Hinochi Tayo is going to try to revive her chances in this series. She is now trying to get herself close to Zeke Wimberly, but she has lost about 15 hundredths of a second against Wimberly. And now Tayo's on her road back into the front, but let's see how it progresses. Meanwhile, with everyone now pitting until the end, we should be able to get a bit of comfort and a bit of a realization to basically check around the surroundings here in Sepang National Circuit. But that's what I would have done if Angela Sims had been getting pretty close to Aziz Muazif, who again is providing us with some very, very consistent runs in this number 62 Risu car. As we've mentioned at the start, Aziz Muazif has been one of the most consistently good drivers in the ARO. Third places in both the Mandalika Super Prix and the Indonesia Grand Prix. And on last Thursday's race, he did finish 4th, which has put him in the championship lead, only 6 points ahead of other drivers like Takeda Adachi, who is only at 489 points. Aziz Muazif currently trying to trail himself ahead against Angela Sims. De Oliveira's gap to Martinez has opened up to around 1.2 seconds, and crucially, Muazif's gap to De Oliveira is about 10 seconds. So again, that just shows you that somehow in Malaysia, for the second race in a row, we have the two top dog cars battling out against each other in a class of their own. Oh, you can see here Bertelsen against Takaboshi there. Bertelsen had the inside line at the final corner. Now it's going to be the outside line coming into turn 1. But let's see if Bertelsen is able to stay ahead. And right now Bertelsen is on the outside against Takaboshi. And it looks to me that Bertelsen is able to edge himself ahead. And that should be nice. Well, there was also a battle here at the midfield with Evans and Golal, if I'm not mistaken. Evans now up into 9th place, Golal in 10th. Right now, we want to see if there are any changes up front here, because De Oliveira is trying to catch up to Jake Martinez. Jake Martinez, of course, currently in the lead of this race. But let's see if he is able to defend his race lead here. And right now he's able to for now. You can also see Sean Goliath catching up to Dan Evans. Now again, this battle between Jensen and Takaboshi for the first point, for the fourth position out of the points here. Both of them getting very tight and close at turn 11. And you can see here, Sven Jensen, turn 12, has to really be in defensive position against Takaboshi, and now Takaboshi is gonna have pressure for Hanari Miyuki. Miyuki is now up into 17th place with that pass, so it is a nice sight to see. More battles left, right, and center. Meanwhile, we have Miyuki and Takaboshi going side by side. Here is Takaboshi as a Zombo in the number 13 Ollie car, and Miyuki finally getting herself up into 17th place. Anyways, the Sepang Grand Prix provides us with as much excitement as it usually does. We've seen great moments here in the Sepang International Circuit. We've seen the last lap crash in the Sepang Super Prix, in the Sepang Grand Prix Split B race that closes out the 2023 Formula Hololive Japan Split season. And meanwhile, we have Sean Goliath still side by side. Well, he's getting close there to side by side against Dan Evans here. Goliath's going to try to attack himself back into 9th place. Ooh, trying to get close there to Dan Evans there. Already 18 laps complete. Nice to see that there are battle packs forming across the entire racetrack here in Sepang, just keeping everyone on their toes. Anyways, as of saying this, we are only like 20 days before the start of the 5th Fest, the Capture the Moment concert at Adak-RMS, which is basically the biggest event for Hololive in the year. So if you want to get your hands on the tickets for the for basically the concert, at least for streaming, because I don't know much about physical. I don't know if it's sold out or anything. You can scan the QR code in the bottom right of your screen, as the QR code will reappear once again for you to be redirected into the 5th Fest website and for you to get your tickets right here. Anyways, back onto the racing scene here. Keiko Takaboshi currently down in 18th place. There has been a good amount of expectations here for Takaboshi, as Oli has been, the standout for a lot of Hololive Indonesia. Wild, energetic, loud, crazy. Basically, what you would want from VTuber from Indonesia, no less. So right now, Takaboshi should try to do good with the deal. But obviously, right now, Takaboshi has been losing touch. But at the same time, there's also Ahmed El Ashor, who's gaining a lot of time since the start of the race. Because El Ashor is now in 19th place, only 0.3 of a second behind Takaboshi. Anyways, let's take a look into the progress charts here. Since everyone has pitted, let's see who has gained a lot of positions and who has lost a lot of positions. And surprisingly enough, it's Hololive Mendes who started 15th that has made the biggest gains in the race. He's gained 10 positions from the start. And looking at Zeke Wimberly, who started on pole position, he's now dropped down to 11th, losing as much positions as Hololive Mendes has gained. And kudos to Hinochi Taiyo for still trying to get herself up into this battle. She is now well into the midfield, but if she wants to get a good run of points and at least try to challenge basically the leaders, if you want to call them that. But yeah, you want to challenge the leaders, challenge in the Formula Hololive International standings, she needs a good performance here in Sepang. Oh, there's a bit of side-by-side battle between El Ashor and Takaboshi. It had been coming. El Ashor was on the outside of turn 2. So it would mean that he at least hanging around the inside of Takaboshi into turn 1. And it has paid dividends for the driver who's only making his second Formula Hololive start. Here, Rafael de Oliveira still in tabs with Jake Martinez. Of course, we check the race field monitor once again. No one is going to pit unless they are involving accidents. And also a nice sight to see, no very, very significant crashes in 20 laps of racing already. So it's also worth noting that it is just clean racing up to this point. And let's just hope that this continues on for the rest of this race. Meanwhile, we're taking a look into your Rafael de Oliveira having his gaps ebbing and flowing against Martinez, who has been one of the standout drivers in Formula Hololive up to this point. As you can see here, also, you want to take a look into Angela Sims getting close to Aziz Muazif, the championship leader. Sims wants to at least steal points away from the guy who is currently leading Formula Hololive International, and that is Aziz Muazif. And let's see if Sims is able to get herself in pouncing position for position. We're about to get into 22, lap 22 of this Malaysia Grand Prix. And right now we have Jake Martinez currently assuming control of this race with, we can't say it's relative ease, but we can say that he has had a good amount of control after Zeke Wimberly has messed up his strategy, which currently puts him down in 11th. And speaking of Zeke Wimberly, he is getting close into Golyle and Evans, and right now Wimberly is showing a lot of pace. Zeke Wimberly trying to find an opportunity against Sean Golyle on the inside. Same goes to Dan Evans up front. Oh, and you can see here trying for the switchback to basically make an overtake happen, but right now it's not coming. Oh, it's a nice dash here to showcase their gears and speed for Zeke Wimberly right now. Zeke Wimberly currently has one of the fastest cars in Sepang up to this point, and currently one of the fastest cars in Formula Hololive as well. And speaking of Zeke Wimberly's previous race in Sepang, the Sepang Super Prix, he basically has set new precedents when it comes to essentially his achievement and what he can do on the racetrack. We've mentioned about the Grand Slam where you need to qualify on pole, get fastest lap of the race, lead every single lap of the race to win that aforementioned race, and that is how you get a Grand Slam of a specific race, and that's what Zeke Wimberly has done in the Sepang Super Prix. But for this Malaysian Grand Prix, he hasn't been able to perform as well as he has hoped for. Jake Martinez still has a lead over Rafael de Oliveira, but unfortunately for de Oliveira, the gap has now opened to 3 seconds between the two, which will also mean that Wasif and Sims are going to try to mount on the pressure against de Oliveira. As far as records go in Formula Hololive, Jake Martinez has yet to score a pole position or a win in Formula Hololive International, but this could be the round that changes things if Jake Martinez is able to basically continue behaving like he should. Here's Corey Rico Mendes, who has, as we mentioned here, has been quite natural in Sepang. It's just that there are some circumstances that just prevent him from essentially getting an easy win. And Sean Golyle gets pretty close there to Dan Evans here, now coming into the exit of turn 8. Well, Golyle taking a move down in turn 9. And right now you can see here coming into turn 11 here, Golyle's going to try to find some time and some space to get himself into position to steal a position away from Evans. And as you can see, coming into the back straight here, Golyle tries to go for the outside line in the middle of turn 14, which usually does not work. Now you can see Golyle trying to get close to Evans. It's a no for now. And you can see also de Oliveira just losing a lot of time to Jake Martinez. We were saying this because looking at Aziz Muazza, the gap was 9 seconds between Muazza and de Oliveira. Now the gap's dropped down to 7 seconds. So something is not right in the 0-1 team. You can see here de Oliveira just wanting to try to get himself back up into racing contention. Angela Sims currently in 4th place against Aziz Moazev currently in 3rd, and as you can see here, Sims is also trying to mount the pressure on Moazev. Moazev, who's trying to mount pressure onto De Oliveira. The gap between Moazev and the leader, Jake Martinez, is only about 12 seconds. Well, 12.8 seconds added between the gaps between first, second, and third. But right now, Sims is gonna try to also get in the mix as well. That's Jake Martinez at turn 15 there, as he disappears coming into the main straight. Meanwhile, at the back, Sven Jensen against Hanari Miyuki. He's still up there, so nice to find out. Onboard Evans is number 15 there in the Yofi car. He's still trying to find a way to find some time, but right now he is still under pressure from Galile and Wimberley. Wimberley, of course, trying to get himself back up into the top 5 after his strategy blunders, which puts him back. Dan Evans currently still wherever he is in 9th place, and right now just wanted to go off topic, but there's no real off topic topics that we can talk about. If anyone in the chat is able to provide us with a bit of insight, or at least suggest us something to talk about while the race is basically still taking place, feel free to share in the chat box. I would love to see your messages and your chat comments. And right now, it's looking also pretty damning for De Oliveira. He's absolutely lost his moments up front. And now with Jake Martinez leading this race and extending his gap now to 8.2 seconds, we're going to be looking at Aziz Moazev and Angela Sims pouncing on the chance. You can see here the scale and like the amount of time that both Moazev and Sims need to find in order to allow them to catch up to the number 4. Well, in terms of new songs, we have heard from someone about Kobo Kanairu, her new song. Well, congratulations to Kobo Kanairu for her new song, but unfortunately for Hanari Miyuki, she is not performing as well as she had hoped for. But for Miyuki, though, she is trying to get herself back up into contention here. She's now in the slipstream of Sven Jensen right now. And let's see if she's able to make something out of it. And right now, nothing comes of it, as Miyuki is still going to be stuck behind Sven Jensen. The race not really turning on its interesting head as did the the Sepang Super Prix. But you can see here, Sims losing out on Aziz Moazev in terms of pace. The gaps open up to now 1 second. But at the same time, Moazev is catching up rapidly to Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. Currently in 2nd place. Here's Hanari Miyuki trying her luck against Sven Jensen there. You can see the gap drop down to 0.3 of a second. You might sense that something comes out of it. And as for the fastest lap, I believe Sean Galile still has it with a 1:45.3, if I'm not mistaken, which should be unrivaled for the rest of this race unless someone makes a bold decision to pit and change tires. Anyways, looking into Kento Kai's pretty lonely race in 8th.
not as lonely as Dan Evans though, but Dan Evans still has company that he needs to deal with, and that is Sean Lyle and Zeke Wimberly. Oh, you can see here. Oh, you can see here. Sean Lyle trying to mount a charge against Dan Evans, which now goes horribly wrong. Zeke Wimberly is gonna try to seize the opportunity, but he's too far back. Miyuki and Jensen also in a battle between each other right now. Miyuki is now on the outside. You can see Sven Jensen's on the inside. Sven Jensen's gonna try to make his move. Too far back for the Norwegian driver as Miyuki manages to defend where she is at the moment. Wazif now fully caught up to the Oliveira, and at the same time we have Jake Martinez already slowing down. He has attacked, but his time in attack has now come to an end, it seems. Now Wazif trying to get close to Rafael de Oliveira. The gap's dropped down to around 4/10 of a second. Will it drop even more? You can see here the difference in lap times between the Risu and Anya cars against the Reine car has been quite... Can we say it's jarring? More than we say it's interesting. But whatever the case is, Moazev is going to try to find his way into second place against the currently pace setter, who's currently setting the pace. Jake Martinez leading this race for Mori Calliope. Oh, and Zeke Wimberly against Sean Lyle, also trading blows between each other. So as you can see here, Zeke Wimberly now shuffle off wide against Sean Lyle, but Zeke Wimberly isn't going to give up. He knows he's got pace. He knows he's got some of the tires against Goliath, but Goliath's going to put up a massively great defensive maneuver against Zeke Wimberly, and that should allow Wimberly to just back off in the next sections of corners because there was no space. Meanwhile, Miyuki and Sven Jensen are trading blows, well, overtaking between each other, but right now it's Miyuki, the 16th place, overtakes Jensen. Lap 28 has just started here. We're about to cross the halfway stage of the Malaysia Grand Prix. The Malaysia Grand Prix, of course, having a lot of excitement in the air. Of course, it's the Formula Hololive International Circus coming into the Sepang town. You can see here the stands are quite packed, if we want to call it that, as you can see. Anyways, back into the racing scene. Angela Sims not close to Moazev, who's close to Rafael de Oliveira. De Oliveira is not gaining as much time as he would think against Reine. Angela Sims trying to get close to Azim Wazir. Apologies for the slight pause in commentary. Of course, I'm literally the only one in the booth once again, so excuse me for the slightly awkward extended pauses. Here's Castanto trying to catch Shino Chitayo for 12th place, but right now Castanto in his Oro Crony number 92 isn't able to set the pace. Meanwhile, Jake Martinez has already crossed the line, which should officially make it halfway in the Sepang Grand Prix, well, Malaysia Grand Prix, that is. Anyways, Angela Sims gets very close to Aziz Moazib, but right now Moazib is holding up his ground with... Can we see LTVs? But right now, Moazib is doing very okay in 3rd place. Here, Rafael de Oliveira still in 2nd place. Jake Martinez currently in the lead. But right now, I also want to take a look into the possible chance of lap cars, by which it's very, very possible, looking at Takaboshi and Martinez's gap. Keiko Takaboshi was exiting turn 4 when Jake Martinez was going to cross the line. So that should give you, that's basically a sector left for Martinez to have some clean air before he inevitably has to deal with lap cars. And right now, Rafael de Oliveira, Aziz Wazif, Angela Sims, they might be sniffing an opportunity to at least get themselves back in contention. Meanwhile, we have Sven Jensen getting close to Hanari Miyuki on the battle for the silver spoon. And right now, there's nothing. Because Sven Jensen, of course, went for the dive bomb. That didn't work. Has to back off. That's also quite smart. You can dive bomb, but if you're not being smart at the end by collecting other drivers, then it's on you. But meanwhile, we're looking at Wimberley and Goliath also trading blows between each other. Wimberley has been knocking on the door throughout these past 10 laps. And now Zeke Wimberley has his reward. He now has 10th place, but not before Sean Goliath's going to try to mount a challenge on Wimberley, but Wimberley won't think too much of that, as Wimberley is now in 10th place. .29 laps complete in the Malaysia Grand Prix. As we mentioned, 20 more days before the Fifth Fest starts. And Miyuki going side by side with Sven Jensen. And Miyuki now, excuse me. They were getting close there, Miyuki and Jensen there, and also Emma Alashore trying to think of a move against Hanari Miyuki there. The gap was getting down to 0.2 of a second between Alashore and Miyuki, but right now, it's looking good between these two, as these two are just remaining there. But you can see here Takaboshi, Alashore, Miyuki, Jensen, and Bertelsen. Bertelsen has currently the final points position in this race for now, but right as it stands, Bertelsen might just be under threat from Jensen and Miyuki, and also Alashore and Takaboshi further back. And looking at Jake Martinez, who's already coming into turn 7 and 8, as the lap cars are currently, well, the soon-to-be lap cars are currently in around the exit of turn 11 by the time Jake Martinez was at turn 7 and 8, which should give you perspective on how close Martinez is to the race leaders. Well, how close Martinez is to the lap cars, well, soon-to-be lap cars. And now, looking at Takaboshi, is getting close to El Ashore. El Ashore holding fast in his car right now, and we are counting 3 ID class cars at the back and 2 EN class cars above the 3 ID cars at the back. The gap between Martinez and De Oliveira, of course, has opened up to 12 seconds. 26 laps to go here in the Malaysia Grand Prix. And you can see here Moazir and Sims just trying to find an opportunity against De Oliveira, but De Oliveira is just consistent on the car and just it's not in the mood to make mistakes. Even for his standards, Rafael, he is not the guy that is as aggressive one may think, because he is actually quite laid back as far as wanting to make use of his chances. And right now he is quite conservative in terms of driving, and right now he's doing very, very well there to just stay there and not make too many mistakes. And right now his goal is the long term. He has Jake Martinez in his sights. Jake Martinez, of course, already in the straight before turn 9, and meanwhile the lap cars, well, soon to be lap cars, are at turns 13 and 14. So you sense that Jake Martinez is getting closer to the lap cars, but we're gonna check the back 5 drivers' lap times. And now we have Ahmed El Ashore on the inside of Hanari Miyuki. exiting the final corner here, and you can see Ella Shore tries to have a better exit here. He might just have the better exit. He's gonna choose the outside. Now it's the inside. It gets close there for Ella Shore. The inside line will become the outside line, the preferred line at turn 2. Oh, there is a bit of contact. There was a bit of a slide. Now I can't be sure there was actually contact or not, but Ella Shore, I believe, has went too deep into the grass, nearly spun his car, and that made Miyuki's life easy. You can see here Miyuki just continuing on in basically the lead, well, in 17th right now. She's doing pretty okay at the moment, but for how much longer we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Angela Sims tries to hang around the outside of Aziz Muazif for 3rd place. But Angela Sims nearly gets the move done. Meanwhile, we have Dan Evans and Zeke Wimberly now going side by side. As you can see, Zeke Wimberly is going to continue his comeback up the field after losing his place in the lead, starting the race on pole. Wimberly has the outside line into turn 1, which will be unfavorable at turn 2. But if Wimberly has enough of a pace to still go side by side against the likes of Dan Evans on the inside of turn 3, Zeke Wimberly should have a shot of getting himself up into 9th. And that he does. Amazing driving for Wimberly. It's not the dominant win that he's had in the Sepang Super Prix 4 days prior. Well, sorry, 3 days prior. But still, it's a good performance for him. Meanwhile, Ella Shore and Hanari Miyuki going side by side. Going to go at it once again between these two. They're neck and neck. Ashore's on the outside. Ella Shore's on the outside. Hanari Miyuki's on the inside. Now Miyuki's going to try to pile on the pressure of Sven Jensen, who also has to be shuffled off wide to accommodate Hanari Miyuki. And you can see here, Sven Jensen almost parked the bus and held up both Miyuki and Ella Shore. Now Miyuki's going to try to think of a move down the inside, surely, but she's too far back. Oh, it's going to get close. But right now, nothing. No real accidents happening so far. And right now, Miyuki's just remaining there. Nice to see. Meanwhile, Angela Sims side by side once again with Aziz Muazif. But this time, Angela Sims has the outside line at turn 2, which should be able to give her the launch that she should have. But with Aziz Muazif having a very good run off of turn 2, he might just try to hang around the outside line to force Sims to a compromising position, and that should allow Muazif to defend his 3rd place. Amazing stuff from Muazif to defend his position by placing his car in the right places. Meanwhile, Jake Martinez is catching up to these lap cars, and when he does catch up to these lap cars and he is unable to make the pass on them, the race will be back open. We're going to go for a short break in commentary. The race will still go on as usual, except we'll only hear the sound of racing engines as Jake Martinez is about to start lap 35 with 34 laps complete. We'll get back to you in around lap time. Also, by the time lap 36 starts, we will continue our commentary. So basically, stay tuned to this race. There will be more racing action. When there's more racing action, we will move our cameras there. All right, we'll see you in the next lap. Oh, and there's contact! That looks like Angela Sims and Corey Rico Mendez. Looks like there's no space given between them. That was ugly from Corey Rico Mendez, but I think Corey Rico Mendez was already ahead at turn 1, and Angela Sims tried to shove Corey Rico Mendes off, but there was no communication. Well, not much communication. You see that the wheels have basically rubbed, and that put Sims into a half spin. Fortunately, she's able to recover her car, but what a way to lose your podium chances with one fell swoop. And with that out of the way, we now have Corey Rico Mendes, as we forgot to mention. We did mention that he has been performing very well in Sepang, but now we are now seeing Corey Rico Mendes challenging for the podium position. When we got out of the commentary to have a bit of a rest, you saw that Corey Rico Mendes was already piling on the pressure and making moves against Angela Sims. And now we are about to see Corey Rico try to pile on something against Muazib, and now Muazib is gonna be forced into a defensive line. Meanwhile, at the back, El Ashore and Hana Miyuki basically switch places once again, and now El Ashore is up into 17th place, and right now El Ashore is doing okay where he is at the moment, and right now it's just holding fine. But the focal point of attention should be at the potential lead lap battle, leader battle at the end of this race. Looking at Hanari Miyuki and Keiko Takaboshi, who's currently in the S, and Jake Martinez are about to come into the S himself. Lap cars are going to play a factor. If Jake Martinez isn't going to be able to pass Takaboshi easily, then, as we mentioned, the race will be wide open once again. As we've also clarified that there is not going to be a there's no real blue flag rules in the Assetto Corsa. You might see blue flag screens being displayed, but they don't really practice blue flags. But anyways, we have Corey Rico Mendes still trying to catch up to Aziz Muazif here. We're about to get into basically 20 laps to go here in the Sepang circuit for the Malaysia Grand Prix. The Malaysia Grand Prix currently under control by Jake Martinez, 17 seconds ahead of Rafael de Oliveira. Because some drivers already having quiet races now. Kate Garcia in 6th. Although technically her race isn't as quiet as you'd think, because she is also going to have to deal with Kento Kai, who's currently in 7th place. Zeke Wimberly continues his charge up into the top spot after his strategic blunders place him off from the lead. Meanwhile, we have El Ashore and Sven Jensen. El Ashore having his mid-race surge right now. He's gonna try to get close to Ethan Bertelsen, who's already etched out a gap between the non-points finishers from 16th on back. Bertelsen should be safe inside the points as it stands, but also we want to take a look into Jake Martinez, who's already coming into turn 4, as the drivers at the back markers are currently exiting turn 6. Meanwhile, Corey Rico Mendes getting close to Aziz Muazif. Aziz Muazif right here in the final podium positions here. If he finishes where he is right now, he will have scored his 3rd podium finish in 4 races, and therefore, as it stands, he will be able to not exactly extend his championship lead, because Jake Martinez is also hot on the heels. And looking at Jake Martinez as gap to Aziz Muazif, which is pretty sizable, 29 points the difference between the two. And for Jake Martinez to take the lead, he should be able to finish where he is right now. And if he finishes with this, finishes with a win in Sepang with Muazif 3rd or lower, Jake Martinez should be able to retake the championship lead. Jake Martinez, of course, showing his skills in the Mori Calliope number 4, obviously leading the championship after basically 2 rounds. After rounds 2 and 3, he was in the lead, but poor performances in the Indonesia Grand Prix costed him a spot in the lead, as he has to cede it to Takeda Adachi. But in round 5, he has been pretty good. He has finished a 5th, He's basically finished fifth in last Thursday's race, and now Jake Martinez currently is your race leader. So this battle for championship is going to be heating up. And speaking about Adachi, who's currently in 5th place, Juan Castanto bat down in 13th, and Angela Sims currently in 8th place, Corey Rico Mendes currently in 4th. The championship completion will take a new look. Once this round has concluded. Meanwhile, Jake Martinez still having a pretty lonely race up in the front. As you can see here, he's just exited in turn 8 as the back markers have just exited turn 9. So the difference between the leader and basically Hanari Miyuki, who's now dropped down to last place, being overtaken by Takaboshi around his last 3 to 4 laps, we believe. Anyways, Jake Martinez currently hangs it where he is. But as you can see here, let's see if we are able to find Jake Martinez here. Here's Jake Martinez at the first part of the back straight here. And Hanari Miyuki just enters turn 15 as Martinez enters exits turn 14, which should mean one thing: the gap between the Hanari Miyuki to Jake Martinez is about 12 seconds. So right now we are looking at Jake Martinez's time, which will be a 153.283, with Hanari Miyuki saying 154.4. Jake Martinez is closing on them a second a lap. So this would mean that these drivers would be meeting each other by about lap 51-52. So around the final stages of this race, Jake Martinez might just be able to defend his race lead after all. But right now, it's not looking to be conclusive just yet, because the gap between Martinez and De Oliveira has closed down slightly. Now the gap 16 seconds. It was 17 seconds when we last checked. So, race, as we said, is still on. And we have another battle at the back, at least in midfield. Bernardo Santiago on the inside of Juani Castanto, who's now down in 14th place. But Juani Castanto is not going to give up his position. He will try to get himself into 13th once again. Oh, you can see here Santiago being very, very aggressive on the grass. And now you can see here Hinochi Tayo has to also think of defending her position right now, because right now Castanto and Santiago is right behind her. And speaking of which, Evans with a very good pass on Sean Galal. Ooh, you can see Sean Galal struggling for grip. In that Gagura number 99, you can see here the tire wear has absolutely kicked off for a lot of these drivers. You can see here the tires being very, very worn at the moment. Here Sean Galal is on board, and you can see here we're going to go for a slight shot at the rear. You can see here the rear end is pretty short. You can see the obvious black line on the rear end of the tire. That just shows you that there has been lots of wear at the back. And then also you can see here the front rides are also being abused a lot. And you can see here Sean Galal is going to go bold and try to make a move around the outside of Dan Evans at the exit of turn 14. And if he does manage to pull it off, yeah, it will be an amazing move. But at the very least, it will make Evans think twice. And now Dan Evans having to hang around the outside. And as it stands, Sean Galal with a very good setup overtake at turn 14. And finally gets it done at the exit of turn 15. Sean Galal is back into the top 10. Meanwhile, Zeke Wimberly continues his climb up into the field. He's now in 8th. Jake Martinez, he should be about less than 10 seconds to Hanari Miyuki, and so as it stands, he will be able to catch them in about 10 laps or lower, 10 laps below, at least 10 laps. So right now, Jake Martinez knows that he needs to at least maintain his pace right now if he wants to bring the Deadbeats and Mori Calliope their first win in Formula Hololive. In terms of the last win for Mori Calliope proper, we want to go back into basically the international series, where if I'm not mistaken, well, we cannot really remember much, but whatever way you can slice it, anyways, they're trying to, Jake Martinez is going to try to bring home a win for Mori Calliope for the first time in ages. And speaking of ages, we're going to go sift through the docs just to confirm back on the status for these drivers. For Mori Calliope's last win in ARO competitions, which should be in the 2022-23 Hololive GT3 International Series. And obviously, it has been a long while since it has happened there. May 2023 was the last race of the Hol GT3 International Series this season, at least for the 22-23 season. You want to go back to Spa-Francorchamps in November 2022 to basically go back to the last time Mori Calliope car won an ARO race, and that will be the first time the Mori Calliope manages to enjoy a win in any of ARO's competitions. And right now, Jake Martinez is gonna try to bring Mori Calliope her first win in over a year. And let's see if Martinez is able to live up to set expectations. Here's Jake Martinez currently coming into the final corner. Hanori Miyuki is in the middle of the main straight. So lap cars may come sooner rather than later. Maybe around lap 45 or lap 46 here. Takaboshi Miyuki setting 154s. Jake Martinez sets 153.2s. So you can see here Jake Martinez is closing in on the back markers in the rate of knot. So this is something that we should be paying attention to right at the end. Meanwhile, Corey Recommendez trying to find a way past Aziz Muazif for basically position for his first podium finish in aero competition since pretty recently, if I'm not mistaken, because Corey Recommendez, I believe, has scored a podium for Takanashi Kiara. He has scored EN class wins for Takanashi Kiara multiple times already. I believe he has. He's not done so in the Connect the World Grand Prix at Long Beach, at least as far as I remember. Anyways, looking into the international. Looking at the current battles here right now, we are looking for Recommendez's stat. He has not scored a podium actually for Takanashi Kiara in these in the 23-24 Formula Hololive International. And right now, Corey Recommendez is also having the best race at the moment for him. He's currently fourth, where his best finish previously was actually a fifth place at the Sepang Super Prix. Well, at Mandalika. Of course, previously at Sepang, he has finished sixth. So obviously, it's a nice sight for him to be at the moment. And as you can see here, he's currently on course to have his best ever finish in Formula Hololive International. But for now, he's just gonna try to stay there. He's just gonna try to hang around against Aziz Muazif there. Maybe Corey Recommendez thinks of a move down the inside. Tries to cause some trouble and headaches to Muazif, and you can see here Muazif holding on to his defensive lines very, very well. Here Jake Martinez. Here is Jake Martinez coming into turn 3. He should be able to have the lap cars in sight, and they are already exiting turn 4, coming into turn 5. Jake Martinez, of course, not far behind, and right now the drivers from second on back is gonna try to He's gonna try to basically just remain in contention. They're all remaining in contention. Nothing is certain in this race, although it looks to be certain that Martinez might win this Malaysia Grand Prix if he's able to clear this lap cars very easily. Oh, and Castanto Santiago again going side by side in turn 15. This time Santiago has the inside line into turn 15. Juan Castanto now has to go around the outside, which will switch, which their positions will switch, coming into turn 1. And now Santiago on the outside against Castanto. Here's Castanto's is on board. And you see here Castanto again with a very good placement on his car, and now that will place him in, continue himself in 13th place. I also feel like in the Oro Crony car has a tendency to perform in the first stages of the season, be it for Hololive GT3 or Formula Hololive, and when it comes to the middle of the season, right at the end, that's when the performance absolutely drops off. So right now for Castanto, he is able to perform still, at least in midfield, but he needs to have good performances if he wants to properly label himself as a title contender. Hanare Miyuki at turn 3 right now. Jake Martinez just exits turn 2. The lap car conundrums will begin in about 3 to 4 laps, give or take. And right now, Jake Martinez knows very well that he needs to manage this very efficiently. Of course, 13 laps to go here in the Malaysia Grand Prix. And without a way, we're gonna go for a slight break. You can see here, 20 more, as we mentioned, 20 more days before the 5th festival. Capture the moment at Adak-RMS in Chiba. You can, the fans can have access to either streaming tickets or live tickets. If you're in Japan, you can try to get live tickets if you are able to get to the venue. That is, if there are no remaining tickets available. Assuming that if there are remaining tickets available, and if not, you can just buy the streaming ticket, and that streaming ticket you can find on the QR code, which will pop up in the next 15 seconds on your bottom left of your screen. You will be redirected to the Fifth Fest website, by which you should be able to find your way into ticketing information. And there should be the QR code right now. You can scan the QR code to basically get access to the Fifth Fest if you choose to. Anyways, you're Rafael de Oliveira coming into turn 14 right now. Hanare Miyuki and just crossed the line. Martinez just exits turn 15. The gap's now dropped down to right about 5 to 6 seconds between the leader and the last place driver. That's Miyuki. Well, about Hanare Miyuki though, what can we say about her? There are times where she can perform, but of course, if we're allowed to say that she has had some issues with performance in a Formula Hololive, we can say about that with absolute conviction. She has had her peak in Formula Hololive after Phillip Island, where she would be as high as 5th in the standings, but since then she has not been performing very well. In the Indonesia rounds, in both the Super Prix and the Grand Prix at Mandalika, she finished 18th and 12th in rounds 3 and 4. And round 5 isn't looking any better, and as you can see here, Miyuki only finished 7th, which is okay, but as far as wanting to get herself back in the top 10 is concerned, that's not going to do her any favors as it stands. And it's not going to help that she is going to be set to finish last. Jake Martinez is right on her rear view mirror soon to place her a lap down. Castanto still behind Hinoshi Tayo, who is trying her best to not be last for the first time in a while. Hinoshi Tayo, of course, representing Hoshinova Muna, who has won a Hololive GT3 International Series title with Maurice Tremblay and Fawaz Mori behind the wheel. They have been one of the most consistent drivers, well, the most consistent team in the series. Despite not winning a single race in the Hololive GT3 International Series, they still managed to pull off a funny and interesting upset as the Hoshinova number 69 wins the Formula Hololive, the Hololive GT3 International Series title for the 22-23 season. And as you can see here, the battle for second is actually extended already into 9th place. Zeke Wimberly now on the inside of Kento Kai. His comeback run continues. All of them having worn out tires here. Zeke Wimberly is going to hang around the outside to fully confirm his spot in 7th place. Now his eyes are set on Kate Garcia. Jake Martinez now has Hanari Miyuki closer than ever in his sights. He should try to time his run very, very well if he wants to try to have less lap car interference. And right now, De Oliveira is losing time to Jake Martinez. So Martinez has a lot of reasons to be excited about. Anyways, Aziz also getting close to Rafael De Oliveira, who has been hanging around in second throughout most of this race. He has been okay. He has started on the front row, but he has had a poor start, which drops him into 4th and 5th. But in the pit stop cycles, he has been able to comfortably be in the lead until Jake Martinez beats him outright. Manages to pass De Oliveira for the race lead, and since then De Oliveira has been hanging around in second. Anyways, Jake Martinez still with 154.4. Hanari Miyuki is at turn 2. Jake Martinez is already at turn 1. So lap car interference will be in the mix. Corey Rico Mendez is going to try his luck for his first podium finish in aero competitions. His first podium finish in this season, I believe. And as you can see here, Mendez now has his sights on Aziz Mwazi. Aziz Mwazi has his sights on Rafael De Oliveira, but right now, nothing much separates between them. And as it's, but even then, Corey Rico is going to try to get close to Aziz Mwazi. Corey Rico Mendez now trying to get himself close here to Aziz Mwazi. 10 laps to go in this Malaysia Grand Prix. We might be seeing a pretty nervy end come the final 10 laps. Jake Martinez gets close to Hanari Miyuki. Miyuki is already right here at turn 12. Jake Martinez should only be at around 5 seconds back of Miyuki. And with that in mind, he should be able to catch Miyuki in about lap 52 or 51. And that would be the door for De Oliveira wants to try to catch up if Martinez isn't able to pass Miyuki. And of course, Martinez has to be very, very smart in terms of trying to defend his place in the defend his gap. Right now, he's doing pretty okay at the moment. Jake Martinez 154.751. You can already see Hanari Miyuki on your screen as we see Jake Martinez come into turn 1. Now Corey Rico Mendez again against Aziz Mwazi. He's going to try his luck once again for his first podium finish in this season's Formula Hololive season. I believe he has never finished inside the podium in any of the aero competitions, at least outright. He has won in his class multiple times. But Corey Rico Mendez is going to try, dive down the inside against Aziz Mwazi, but Mwazi with the favorable run into turn 2 manages to stay ahead for now. But Corey Rico Mendez with an amazing launch, exiting turn 2 and turn 3, and now has to go down the inside of turn 4, which will be a positive for Mwazi. He should be able to defend third place for now. Hanari Miyuki now at turn 9. Jake Martinez about 4 seconds back, or 5 seconds back, at turn 9 now. Jake Martinez just wanting to bide his time. He needs to at least manage his pace right at the end. He knows that he already has an 18-second gap to De Oliveira, so he's not going to throw this away in the blink of an eye. Meanwhile, Adachi and he's gonna see Wimberly and Kate Garcia battle it out at the behind Adachi. Wimberly continues his charge up the field with everyone now bunched up. Zeke Wimberly could hope to win this race outright if Martinez isn't able to clear lap cars as soon as possible. Zeke Wimberly believes his best chance is currently second after... Oh, as you can see here, he got very loose exiting turn 14. He's lost the rear end, and now it looks to me that he's going to have a very poor exit. He has had a pretty poor exit off of turn 14, which will open the door back for Kate Garcia to make a move down the inside herself. And right now, Garcia got close, but not close enough. Now Zeke Wimberly is going to try to defend his position. Wimberly around the outside now goes Adachi, as Wimberly is going to try to attack himself for him to get himself into P5. Wimberly now again with another good overtake. Oh, he clips one of the curbs, which should allow Adachi to get himself back up. But right now, Zeke Wimberly's comeback charge has been very nice to see. He was down in 12th. Now he's in 5th after basically his 4-second pit stop. Meanwhile, at the back, Hanari Miyuki just hanging in around at the back, just trying to find a way past Keiko Takaboshi for that silver spoon battle. Meanwhile, as we are looking into some more battles right now, De Oliveira and Martinez, 18 seconds between them. Sepang race here in Sepang, the Malaysia Grand Prix about to reach its conclusion. Jake Martinez is about to cross the line, which will make it 7 laps to go here in Sepang. Hanari Miyuki is right in front of him, but I feel like he's not going to be able to catch up. Hanari Miyuki is already at 155.3. Jake Martinez is already at 154.6. He should be able to meet these lap cars at the final lap, which should be a very, very positive thing for Jake, as he is looking to try to bring Calliope her first win since 2022 and his first win in aero competitions. There's something in Martinez that says that he is amazed at the fact that he is now leading a Formula Hololive race for Mori Calliope, which her fans have not seen a win since, well, if I would like to be fair, since November 2022. So it will be a long time coming. It will be a year and 3 months since Mori Calliope last won a race in aero competitions. And we will all be up for it when Jake Martinez crosses the line. Hanari Miyuki at turn 11, Jake Martinez at turn 10 now. So right now, no issues so far when it comes to lap cars just yet, but meanwhile the battle for battle for second is still pretty much ripe. Adachi is in 6. Zeke Wimberly, who is continuously making his dangerous climb up into the rankings in Formula Hololive International, is now in 5th place. Aziz Muazib will set to continue his consistent run in 3rd, but he will lose his championship lead to Jake Martinez, as the points difference would mean that Martinez will take the championship lead. The only one in the top 5 that is not inside the top 10 is Juan Castano, who's currently down in 13th place. He will take a huge hit in the championship order. He will fall outside the top 5. Well, has a huge risk of falling outside the top 5 for the first time this season. Jake Martinez really losing a lot of time against Hanari Miyuki. And you can see here Oliveira, Martin Mendes, they have also been matching Jake Martinez this time. Here's Miyuki already in turn 5. Here is Jake Martinez exiting turn 4, so obviously it's a bit slower than expected. Martinez's meet up with the lap car Hanari Miyuki, so this would mean that Jacob Martinez will end up not lapping any other car, and maybe this is on purpose because Jacob Martinez knows he's gonna try to at least maintain this gap. 15 seconds is what he needs to maintain for him to get this win here in Sepang. Oh, running around the outside, just trying to just be consistent with the wheel. I mean, at this point, your tires are absolutely shot. There's not much grip in them. It'll be easy to lock up these tires because there's just no grip in them, as we've seen with Aziz Moazev, I believe, when he locked up in the middle of turn 14, or is that Zeke Wimberley? But whatever the case is, the grip is currently minimal for all of these drivers involved. The youngest tires, for what we're seeing here, should be for Zeke Wimberley, who has had fresher tires than anyone so far. But even then, basically the effective lifespan of these tires are basically gone. The gaps between Martinez and De Oliveira have now dropped down to 14 seconds, even without the interference of lap cars. Because looking at Martinez's lap time, he's already had a 155. De Oliveira's time is now set at a 153.246, but it'll still be a little bit too late for the drivers in second to catch up to Martinez. Unless Martinez makes a huge mistake, then this battle for the race win is going to be pretty shut. Jake Martinez just needs to remain consistent, just remain calm. That's all he needs to do. Just bring this car into the finish line. Anyways, drivers outside the points. Ahmed El Ashor is going to be set to finish outside the points in his second race in Formula Hololive International. Sven Jensen continues his not so pleasing run, finishing outside the points again. Takaboshi and Miyuki also have to feel the sting of not finishing inside the points because they know they're going to drop further down in the Formula Hololive standings. Oh, and Aziz Moazev getting very, very close there too. You're Rafael de Oliveira. And as it stands right now, Jake Martinez is still running solo in his number 4 car. No issues for Martinez yet. While he is losing time to the lap car of Hanari Miyuki and losing time to De Oliveira, who is catching up. As we've mentioned before, he just needs to remain calm and consistent. And of course, he just needs to just stay where he needs to be. Four laps to go in the Malaysia Grand Prix, and Jake Martinez obviously has this race about in control. Here's Moazev getting close to Rafael de Oliveira. Rafael obviously trying his absolute best to get himself his best finish since basically Mandalika, where he finished 6th. And even in Sepang, though, where he has not been performing as well, you can see here he finished in 16th, 1 point away from Sean Goliath, who actually Goliath has beat at the line, so that's also even more heartbreaking. Anyways, Rafael de Oliveira has a mission in him to at least defend second place. The second place is still 175 points. So Aziz Moazev is racing for him to maintain his spot in the lead of the standings. If he beats De Oliveira right at the line, Moazev will be maintaining his place in the championship lead. However, if he finishes third or lower, then he will still lose the championship lead to Jake Martinez. Jake Martinez, Hanari Miyuki. The gaps have basically remained constant between the two. Jake Martinez just needs to keep this car under control. Kid Garcia having a pretty quiet race after a pretty eventful latter stages of this race. Pushes her down. Anyways, let's make a look back into the progress chart. Corey Rico Mendez is gonna try to get himself his and the KFP their first podium in Formula Hololive International. Corey Rico Mendez his best finish in Formula Hololive International, at least in terms of outright positions. Sepang has been very good for him. Sepang has been very kind to him, as Corey Rico Mendez is gonna try to get himself a chance into third place. But it's currently Moazif and De Oliveira currently occupying the second and third spots. Zeke Wimberly against Takeda Adachi. Takeda Adachi is going to try to challenge Wimberly. Side by side they go. 3 laps go in the Malaysia Grand Prix. Adachi wanting to lose as little points as possible. He knows that the points situation is very much precarious. Oh, there was contact between Wimberly and Adachi, but fortunately these two are able to still continue. They will still be side by side at turn 3. And it looks to me that Zeke Wimberly should be able to defend his 5th place with his outside line move at turn 4. Aziz Moazif trying to find a way past Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. They're in a class of their own at the moment. They are in their own pack. Corey Mendez is going to try to defend his 4th place finish. He knows that he should be able to finish on a podium, but right now it's not coming. It's not coming on for him. Jake Martinez still in the race lead, still under control here. As we're going to also talk about Maury Calliope, of course. Maury Calliope being the mentor of Death itself. This Grim Reaper also streams. She's also performing, she also performs some very decent raps and some songs as well. And also for her, she does have a loyal set of fans, the Deadbeats. Of course, Jake Martinez is amongst those Deadbeats that is currently racing in Formula Hololive International. He's going to start the penultimate race, so lap in this in the lead in first place. And also, meanwhile, Adachi is going to go at it again on Zeke Wimberly. If Adachi can plan ahead these next few corners and have a very good run, he should be able to come out of this a winner. As you can see here, Adachi side by side with Zeke Wimberly. Now he has the inside line into turn 1, which will be the outside line in turn 2. If he clears Wimberly at turn 2, and there's contact between Adachi and Wimberly. Looks like they were both trying to fight for the same real estate. But now Adachi is gonna be able to continue, but at this point his chances of finishing inside the top 5 have now gone to dust. And with it, his chances of him staying inside the top 3. An ultimate lap drama here in the Malaysia Grand Prix as Adachi just about loses his chance to have a very decent finish inside the top 5 here in Sepang. Jake Martinez only has about 1 1/3 of a lap of the Malaysia Grand Prix left for him to deal with. Meanwhile, Wimberly wants to complete his comeback run into 4th place after losing his pole position and the lead through strategy. Wimberly is going to try to get himself 4th place as a consolation at the very least. Wazif is going to enjoy his continuous, consistent run. He's going to equal his best finish in Formula Hololive, and that should be 3rd. Meanwhile, De Oliveira is going to have his best finish in Formula Hololive International up to this point. The final has already started for Jake Martinez, leading this race for most of its duration. Manages to out-strategize Zeke Wimberly and manages to outpace Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. It's not the most dominant race, it's not a Grand Slam, but it is a win worth celebrating nonetheless. Aziz Moazif might just have one last shot for him to steal second away from Yuri Rafael de Oliveira. Jake Martinez Rafael de Oliveira will look to stand on the podium for the first time in Formula Hololive this season. Well, Formula Hololive International this season. And Jake Martinez will have his first win for Maury Calliope this season. And for Maury Calliope, her first win in over a year. Maury Calliope, we can say it's a rags to riches story. Obviously, Maury Calliope has built up her career. Obviously, Hololive has given her the ability to flourish in high-level virtual YouTubing scenarios. And this also is reflected to Jake Martinez's performance. He has been there. He has been taking the lead of Formula Hololive International through consistency alone. Now he's gonna cap off this weekend in Sepang with what should be a likely win for Jake Martinez, a convincing one at that. Only one corner left for this deadbeat to basically seal the deal on this race win. The deadbeat, I hope you're watching this moment as Jake Martinez runs off in the, from the final corner to take the win here in Sepang in one of the biggest races in Formula Hololive International this season. Jake Martinez wins the Malaysia Grand Prix. Yuri Rafael de Oliveira finishes second in what has got to be his best race in aero competition so far. Corey Recomendes is also close to his first podium finish, but he'll settle for fourth in his best ever Formula Hololive International finish. Wimberly completes his comeback inside the top 5. He will remain in the hunt in the championship. Meanwhile, for Angela Sims and Wani Castanto, they will fall down, as well as Takeda Adachi. And right now, we're looking into this current situation here. Jake Martinez will take the race lead away from Aziz Moazef with this win, and with Moazef finishing third. Hanari Miyuki just losing out a lot on that lap on basically in terms of performance here. Miyuki has dropped down has lost a lot of time to Keiko Takaboshi, so she's just gonna finish this race as well as she could. Hinoshi Tayo completes her comeback. She finished last and looks like she will finish inside the points after all. Very good comeback. And for the driver who's made the most overtakes for position, Jake Martinez started 15. He's now up into 4th. That's also something to be excited for. Castanto's championship hopes are slipping away. Same goes for Santiago, but this time he will probably slip outside the top 10. Ethan Burleson gets to finish inside the points for once, as Ella Shore completes his second race in Formula Hololive International in 16th. Jensen 17th, Takaboshi 18th. Miyuki crossing the line. That should be it for this race here in Sepang. And with that away, let's take a look into the race results on who wins the Malaysia Grand Prix. Anyways, Jake Martinez wins the Malaysia Grand Prix for Maury Calliope. Calliope is his first win since November 2022. And Jake Martinez's first win in aero competitions. Yuri Rafael de Oliveira, as we mentioned, with his best ever finish for Pavolia Arena. He has to be very, very proud for himself. Aziz Moazef as well. He is done very well for himself. Wonders even for Ayuna Risu as he continues his very nutty, consistent run. Corey Recomendes, as we mentioned, best finish in Formula Hololive for now for Takanashi Kara. Same goes for Zeke Wimberly, though he doesn't get to win this one. He does manage to at least salvage a top 5. Kate Garcia with another good run to finish 6th for Zeta. Kento Kai 7th for Hakos Bales. Angela Sims finishes 8th for Anya Melfisa. 9th goes to Takeda Adachi after a penultimate lap tangle with Zeke Wimberly cost him a spot inside the top 5. Sean Goliath finishes 10th in his second home race for Gaogura. Dan Evans 11th for Irani 15th alongside 12th. Hainochi Tayo for Hoshinawa Muna. Kwani Castanto 13th for Oro Crony. 14th goes to Bernardo Santiago for Watson Amelia. And Ethan Burleson has the final points position in 15th. Shore 16th for Kyla Kowalska, the first driver outside the points. Sven Jensen 17th for Iris. 18th goes to Keiko Takaboshi for Crazy Ollie. And 19th is Hanori Miyuki for Kobo Kanairu. So we're going to go a bit of a review for this round. And obviously It's exciting, this race. Jake Martinez obviously coming off this race with the heroics to win the Malaysia Grand Prix. Obviously, it's one of the biggest races of the Formula Hololive International season, and obviously his achievements should be applauded. And if I were to say so myself, it is not as a, it is not as it's not, well, not gonna say it's not as entertaining, but it is as a, how do we say this? Exciting to watch here in Sepang. Obviously, we had some battles, we had some pit stop strategies that came into play, and obviously, Martinez has made the most out of his race. Either way, we should be able to check on the championship standings after 6 races in Formula Hololive International. And with this race, the most wins out of any class out of the Formula Hololive International cars have been settled. The ID class cars will not be able to compete for most wins in a season. That will now go to the EN class outright. So congratulations to the EN class drivers for continuing their very dominant showcase in Formula Hololive. None of the ID class cars have still won the race. So yeah, unfortunately, due to the content manager crashing, we're gonna be taking a good amount of time to process the results. But we will share with you the championship standings as we're going to do that anyways. But for now, we say this for sure. Jake Martinez will take the championship lead over Aziz Muazif in the top portion of the standings. So yeah, that's what we can say about the weekend as a whole. It's been entertaining, it's been fun, and hopefully everyone has enjoyed this race in its entirety. I am Omar Reza in the commentary booth, and hopefully everyone is available for round 7 of Formula Hololive International, the Bororam Super Prix in Thailand in 2 weeks' time. We'll see you there.